Where the Mounties were. So I just have holes in my head. And he said, because that, he said, technically I shouldn't be walking or talking right now. I should be dead. And he says, just that I'm just tough. I'm physically fit. So maybe even with these cutting my throat. I got in there good and deep. I was working it. And the doctor said that the arteries not, they move around.
Well, I think it's a natural reflex for them to try to move out of the way.
But I got in there good. I was like zigzagging it, and it just still didn't work. Damn it. I'm freakishly strong.
2014, a story was published about a man named Jason Padgett who, while leaving a karaoke bar, was attacked and beaten by two men. They hit him hard in the back of the head and stole his jacket. The assault was so bad, Padgett was left with a severe concussion, diagnosed with traumatic brain injury and PTSD that would last for years to come. He also began to develop obsessive-compulsive tendencies. One unexpected result of that brutal attack, however, was Jason Padgett became a mathematical genius.
Jason was attacked.
And I didn't see anything coming. I just heard more than felt this thud in the back of my head, and I saw a bright flash of light. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground.
Jason was rushed to the hospital and treated for his injuries.
They gave me this really strong pain medicine shot and sent me home. And I remember on the way home thinking how bizarre everything looked.
When Jason awoke the next morning, his vision was more than blurry.
Everything that was perfectly smooth before, when it moved, had these little tiny edges. It looked like it was choppy, like you were watching an old-fashioned flip book.
Jason would draw what he was seeing, but he could not explain it until a chance encounter with a stranger in a mall.
And he said, hey, I'm a physicist. And he goes, what are you working on there? It looks like you're trying to talk about space-time and the discrete structure of the universe. He goes, but I've never seen anybody do it in layman terms before. Have you ever thought about taking a math class?
From one attack, Jason went from a furniture salesman with no real interest in academics to being able to see mathematical equations and geometric patterns in everyday life. He was able to draw almost perfect fractals from memory. It is theorized that due to the severity of the attack and the impact it had on his brain, Padgett developed synesthesia, a cross-wiring of the brain in which the senses get mixed up, which lead to him becoming a savant at mathematics. He eventually wrote a book about his experiences titled "Struck by Genius: How a Brain Injury Made Me a Mathematical Marvel." But why spend the first minute of this video reviewing this case at all? Because if a man can go through a traumatic brain injury and become a savant in mathematics, perhaps altered brain chemistry can cause an individual to act in a more negative way, perhaps making them more prone to violence, more aggressive, less likely to make rational decisions, or more likely to exhibit certain personality disorders. And if that's the case, how does the justice system deal with that individual should a violent crime occur? Enter Kevin Gregson, former Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer. It wasn't long before he turned into an erratic, narcissistic, self-wallowing killer whose lack of self-awareness and inability to see things from any other perspective makes his interrogation a fascinating look into yet another delusional mind. Kevin Gregson's life, when looked at like a timeline of events, is filled with bad decisions, erratic events, and horrible acts. All of these started, however, according to him, in April of 2006, when he was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, which is a buildup of cerebrospinal fluid in the brain leading to increased pressure inside the skull. Severe symptoms of this can include seizures, vomiting, headaches, muscle spasms, and neuromuscular issues. On the psychological side of things, symptoms can include irritability, mood swings, and inability to control temper. It can also adversely affect thinking patterns and behavior. Gregson is diagnosed with hydrocephalus in April of 2006, and in May of 2006 makes a death threat to another individual while on the job as a police officer and receives a conditional discharge and 18 months probation. A few months before, in September of 2006, he had threatened a Mormon bishop with a knife and was suspended with pay. By July 2008, Gregson's behavior had gotten so bad and erratic that he was fired by the RCMP, with them citing impulsive, irrational, and excessive behavior as a cause. He is then suspended without pay and attempts to appeal the decision. On December 28, 2009, Gregson attempts to take his own life with a knife, but is unable to. He then hijacks a Honda Civic from some teens. From his own explanation, he attempts to drive around to find a police officer to obtain a weapon from, so he can shoot himself. Unable to find any officers during the drive, he then decides to go to the Ottawa Hospital Civic Campus. It is there that he confronts Officer Eric Czapnik, who is by his cruiser outside the hospital. And after a brief altercation, Gregson stabs Czapnik and is quickly subdued by civilian bystanders until the police came to arrest him.
Your intention this evening was to take your own life.
Yeah, I tried to commit suicide, and it didn't work. And I'm trained to take life. That's my specialization, and I can't believe the stupid knife.
Well, you continue to say your specialization. You didn't learn that as a police officer.
Yeah, I did.
Because I've never learned that. I've been a police officer longer than you.
They're not like us. We're the Mounties. So I just have holes in my head. And he said, because of that, he said, technically I shouldn't be walking or talking right now. I should be dead. And he says, just that I'm just tough. I'm physically fit. So, and even with these cutting my throat, I got in there good and deep. I was working it. And the doctor said that the arteries not, they move around.
Well, I think that's a natural reflex for them to try to move out of the way.
But I got in there good. I was like zigzagging it, and it just still didn't work. Damn it. Oh well. Maybe a train will do it.
Well, I can be very honest with you, Kevin. If you ever
get out of here, yeah. Well, so I can get on the train.
That's if.
If I don't care.
You're facing
pen time.
Kevin, you're facing first-degree murder. The punishment for first-degree murder is life in jail.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen then.
I want you to
My intent was to die tonight, and because I cut my throat and it didn't work, I needed a gun so I could blow my brains out. And the only people who have guns are police officers. And so I went down to the hospital because the The hospitals always have policemen there. And that's it. I wanted his gun. I wanted to die. That's all. I still want to die.
You're a young man, Kevin. You have a ton of things going for you.
No, I don't. Not
You have a
anymore.
beautiful wife.
She's going to leave me for this. I'm not stupid. I know my wife. She's going to be gone after this.
You'll always have a son. You're always a father. Do you have any other children?
Yeah, a couple more.
When you hurt yourself, or when you cut your neck the first time, you said you did it 3 times today?
Oh, I did 6. I did 3 on one side. I just dug it in.
Yeah.
Nope. And then because it's supposed to work.
But did you have it bandaged up when you went to the hospital?
Yeah, because I was bleeding everywhere. It was
So where'd you get the
disgusting.
bandaging?
At my house.
Oh, okay.
I just got some band-aids, put them on it.
Okay.
That's all. And then I put another one on top of it because like I'd get dressed and then all of a sudden down my front and be like, gross.
When, where'd you get the car?
Oh yeah, yeah. I carjacked that at the Tim Hortons. I told the guys already. I just took it. I just young couple. I said, I need your car.
And what did they say?
Okay, and they got out and that was it.
How did you just told them you wanted the car? That doesn't seem like it works out like
I
that.
said, give me your car. I need it.
And did you have any weapons? You have your knife?
No.
Did you have your gun?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I waved it around.
Yeah. Whereabouts in the parking lot was it? I know the parking lot pretty well.
Right in front of Tim's.
Well, there's a police station right across the
You
street.
know, that's what makes it even really audacious.
Well, why didn't you just go over there and wait for a police officer if you were looking for a gun?
I actually was. I drove around their lot about 3 times looking for a guy, but they were all off shift.
It's cold out.
Well, I don't know. It was in between shifts because when I came over to the hospital, I was passed by 3 cars, and they're heading back because I guess shift was over for them over there.
They were heading back. You were going down a green. I don't follow. You
I was
were.
going to the hospital, and
Yeah.
I just drove past.
Where were you
me
between the time you took the carjacking, and the murder? Where were you?
at home,
Home
washing
doing
my clothes, washing the bedding.
what? So you stole the car, went home, or you did the carjacking,
Yeah,
drove the car.
I went home and I just cleaned up the place best I could.
No. With anyone?
My parents. I went by and saw them. Showed my dad my cut, my neck and stuff. Just told them goodbye. Then they drove around looking for me
How do you know that?
because they sent me an email.
How do you know you had an email?
Because I checked on the computer when I was at home.
Oh, it's on the computer at your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the laptop.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to get a search warrant for your house. You understand that, right?
Hmm?
Okay. And did you respond to the email?
No.
Okay.
Because I already said goodbye.
And goodbye, did you tell them what the goodbye meant? Like,
Yeah,
not I'm
well-
traveling to Europe. But
No, I just said I tried to cut my throat and it didn't work, so I had to go find something else, and I wasn't going to drown myself because with my luck I would fall in the water and I wouldn't drown. So I had to find a weapon. I even drove by all the donut shops until it clicked in hospital.
At this point in the interview, Gregson has very directly referenced having the desire to end his own life multiple times, but being repeatedly unsuccessful. He says he tried to cut his own throat, but essentially he was so tough that it didn't work. He says that he considered drowning himself, but was afraid that he would survive that too. So in response, he needed to find a gun in order to end his own life. One thing you'll start to notice as a theme throughout the interview is although he openly expresses his desire to end his own life, it appears that what Gregson is really looking for is attention, sympathy, or someone to feel bad for him. His self-loathing and self-pity become evident as the interrogation progresses, as does the notion that perhaps Kevin Gregson didn't really want to die after all.
No, I'm not being disparaging with donuts with the guys. It's just like we always went to the donut shops because they're open all night.
why didn't you take a break?
And you take a break.
We're allowed to have breaks, right? Union breaks?
Yeah. Well, we don't have a union, but that's what you do at the coffee shop. People think it's because we're lazy or something, but it's just because they're open.
Sure.
And you get that sugar fix too when you're tired working late shifts.
You still think like a cop, Kevin.
I know.
Do you feel sorry for what happened?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing I can do. Nothing can be done. Like you said, you can't take back.
Well, there is. You could say sorry.
Are you? Well, to who?
Somebody will be watching this someday.
Yeah, I know. They're not gonna. His wife watches. His kids. Oh my gosh, he has kids.
How do you know?
Because Thompson told me. No, some other guy. He says, you're a, what do you said? You sack of shit. He has 2 kids. No, sorry. The story doesn't cut it. So
It might. You might want to try it. No?
oh no, I'm not saying no. Hey, down the road, if I run into his kids, if they come to me and I'll talk to them and I'll tell them I'm sorry.
Well, with all due respect, Kevin, I don't think they want to talk to you.
Yeah, that's good. I wouldn't want to talk to me either.
You're not evil, Kevin.
No,
You've done something evil, and I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to understand why.
I just wanted a gun. I wanted to kill myself. That's all.
But you left a big piece of the puzzle out.
What's that?
What happened?
My lawyer says not to say. My police instincts say not to say, and that's it.
Well,
So
you're the
I'll
one that
just
gets
wait.
to decide in here.
Yeah.
There's just you and me here.
No, it's not. There's a video camera. And guys are watching, and every time they think of a question, they call you on the phone. That's what we do too.
I mean, you're all by myself, man.
You have a phone, and they call you because they're watching.
No, they can't call me.
Doesn't matter.
There may be people watching, but this
that's what
is
we
your
do,
time,
too.
Kevin. Well,
I don't.
we operate a little differently. This is your time. Like I said, this would be a perfect opportunity for you to say sorry. This would be a perfect opportunity for you to fill in the blanks. Like I said, like that's why I put you to that position to you. If someone came to you and said, "Hey, give me your gun," as a police officer, you know exactly what would happen. You would not give your gun up. So I don't get where you think that you could go and approach a uniformed officer or anybody in the security industry and say, "Give me your gun." You're wearing 2 bulletproof vests, Kevin.
Why would a man who is so intent on dying wear 2 bulletproof vests while assaulting an officer while trying to obtain his weapon?
No, you're wanting me to give you a statement again.
Well, I'm trying to understand, Kevin. And I'm sure everybody is. There's probably at least 800,000 people in this city who are trying to understand.
Yeah.
And there'll be probably hundreds of thousands of people in a couple days trying to understand. And this is your time to make them understand, or to let them understand what happened. Because for the reasons I already stated, you don't approach a police officer. You know as well as I do, Kevin, if I were to touch your gun when you're in uniform, you know what you're trained to do. I know what I'm trained to do. I just have a hard time grasping what it is, what was going through your mind. Like I said, we have witnesses, we have stuff, we have evidence. I don't think that in my opinion, is not a question. The question is why. And with all due respect, Kevin, I don't think you wanting to end your life justifies the actions that you took. That's my opinion. There'll be a trier of fact who will judge that, not me. I just don't get it. And I'd be doing the very same thing if you were the person that had their life ended. And I'd be talking to you just the very same if you were the cop, which you are. You are a Mormon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think your religion, I think, tells you your damnation is yours, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to hell.
Yeah. So why didn't you slit your wrists?
Because it doesn't work when you cut your
It does
wrists.
if you cut them the right way.
Well, even you cut along with that, they'll bunch up together. The best thing is the throat. I should have did my leg maybe.
Femoral artery?
Yeah. But I don't know. After it didn't work, and I was like, whatever, I need a gun.
When did you decide you needed a gun? What time?
I don't know.
What time did you cut your neck at?
7.
7 p.m.?
Mm-hmm.
And then you know what time you went out and got the car at? Did the carjacking?
I walked over to the donut shop.
Because you live nearby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just down the street.
Yep.
So I walked over there, and then the opportunity presented itself, so I took it. And
Was it before or after midnight?
it was way before that.
Okay. And then you went back home? You went to see your
I went to
parents?
see my parents, then I went home. And
Did you do anything else?
no, I just I cleaned up. It was a real mess. And then I kept spurting on the right side all the time. I'd just be standing there and start spurting. So I had to wash my clothes a couple times. And then I figured I wasn't coming back, so I just enjoyed laying on my sofa.
Why did you figure you were not coming back?
Because I could have been shot and killed at the hospital. It was suicide by cop.
Well, you were wearing a bulletproof vest, 2 of them, as a matter of fact. How did you figure that was going to happen?
I don't know if you got lucky, hit me in the head. Triple tap, eh? 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. That's what I'm trained to do. That's what they train us in depot. But most guys can't do that because they get nervous. The first shot will go in, then the other 2 will go off. But you never know.
Kevin Gregson mentions how he considered suicide by cop as a possibility for him to end his own life. However, he proceeded to wear 2 bulletproof vests. When confronted on this conflict by the interrogating officer, he responds with, "Maybe the officer would have gotten lucky and hit me in the head." At this point, it becomes clear that although Kevin Gregson is making a big show out of wanting to end his life, his actions he has taken to do so tell a very different story.
But I just wanted to go in so I can go home. I wanted to die in my own place. I just wanted to go die in my home, my space, not on the street or in the snow.
That's what you caused.
I know. So,
What did you tell the officer when you approached him?
I know you really want to know. I can't tell you. I'll tell my lawyer, and he can tell you.
Well, that's you know better than me. That's not how this works.
Yeah, I know. But it doesn't matter. I'm screwed either way. It doesn't matter.
Kevin, it does matter.
Oh, it does. It doesn't matter. I'm screwed. I can't even die.
Or a letter?
No.
You're just checking out?
Checking out.
Why so defeatist, Kevin?
I'm not defeatist. It's not defeatism. I'm just going. I'm leaving. I'm just going over there.
Lots of people say that you're just
That's not
just
what
giving
I
up.
believe. That's not what I think.
You've just given up.
No, I'm just going.
You seem rather matter of fact about it.
Yeah.
How does someone get so resolved to say, you know what, that's the way I'm going? How does someone do that?
Because I've been this way for 5 years. What kept me going in my outfit? It doesn't matter now. I'm in charge of first-degree murder. When they were causing me trouble at work, my plan when I was in Regina was to put my surge on and go down to the Parliament buildings and cut my throat, which I'm glad I didn't do because it wouldn't have worked. Just to cause trouble for the force because it would have been a big PR thing. And when I got here in town, my thing was I'll go down to the Centennial Flame and just lay out there. And now I realize, holy shit, that would have been the stupidest thing in the world because I couldn't have cut my throat anyways. And that's what kept me going, the fact that I could die and leave at any time. And this has been going on since 2005. And that's what's kept me going. So I've been suicidal for 5 freaking years. So for me, it's no big deal. It sucks to be me. So it's just things like that. And it was just getting to me. Then they took my pay.
That was this summer, right?
No, that was, they kept it going until November. Then they took it. But the thing they did wrong was they tied it into the panel, which they can't do, and that screwed themselves.
Okay.
Plus, when they took it...
So there's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
So you said they can't do this and you've appealed this stuff. So why, at this juncture, do you decide, well, Kevin Gregson's checking out? Why? What now? I don't get it. I really don't.
Because I have $30.
Because you have a beautiful son. You have a wife that stood by you
I know.
to this point. You have children out west that'll always stand by you.
No, they won't.
And you have your church or your religion.
Is a joke.
Your religion.
It's just time. I had enough.
Big noise.
And I just lived with it, and I controlled it.
How did you control it, though? I mean, if you're aggressive, how does that work?
I just controlled it. That's all.
You didn't control. You didn't have very much control today.
I wasn't aggressive today. Like, I don't know. It's just, I kind of live with it, and I just kind of control it. Like, tonight I wasn't aggressive. That wasn't aggression at all.
I think a lot of people would disagree with it.
That's okay.
How? Well, then you'd need to define what you consider to be aggressive.
That wasn't aggression.
Taking someone's life with a knife is not aggressive. I think you'd have a hard time selling that anywhere. Just my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
What would you consider to be aggressive then?
Asserting yourself. I don't. Things like that.
Asserting yourself? Is that what you said? Is that what you said? Asserting yourself?
Yeah.
Do you think you're a fair person?
I was. I'm not anymore.
Why?
I'm a monster now.
Because of this?
Oh, yeah.
Or before?
Oh, because of this.
Do you think it's unjustified? That label? I mean, it's the label you've given yourself. Do you think it's accurate?
Oh, I was thinking about that today because I told my dad that I'm a monster. And the thing is that humans are monsters.
Yeah, but if you told your dad that would be before you murdered the officer. So,
Murdered.
well, you murdered him.
The courts will decide that.
You're right. You took his life. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's no getting around that.
No. Okay, so you took his life. So you said you told your father something before you took the officer's life. So,
What was that in relation to?
well, you said you made the comment about being a monster before this happened. I asked you if you thought you were a monster. You said because of this, and I said you answered yes. But you thought you had some thoughts about being a monster prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because humans. I'm a human being.
I'm a human being too.
Yeah.
We do the same thing, Kevin.
Not really.
No? Why is that?
I'm sitting here in the zoot suit, and
Yeah. Well,
I've done some
the
bad
allegation
stuff.
against you is that you took somebody's life.
Yeah.
We're on opposite sides of the table. We still do the same thing. They obviously hired us for the same reason.
Yeah. So, whatever.
I just don't know how you get to the conclusion.
To me, all people are bad. That's it.
That's problematic for me.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's how I view it. I look at everybody and they're all bad, and that's it. And they sometimes exhibit a bit of good, but for the most part they're bad. And that's it. And that's being human.
The conversation of people being inherently good or inherently bad or somewhere in between is one that is far outside the scope of this video. However, Kevin's stance on this matter is telling when compared with how he acts and views himself and his crimes. Of course, a man who spends most of his time wallowing in self-pity after taking someone else's life would view mankind as inherently evil, because psychologically it gives him a way out, a way to mentally justify his actions. By putting the blame on everyone else, he himself doesn't have to shoulder any of the blame or guilt for what he's done.
Well, that's glass half empty. It's not human. It's glass half empty. You choose to do that. That's not necessarily true. It's like the people that say the glass is always half full and everything's all rosy. Well, that's not true either.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
I have my view, you have yours.
Sure.
You want to be an optimist? I'm not. I'm a pessimist. I'm a realist.
Okay, well, you're a pessimist. I don't know that you're a realist.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you're being aggressive.
I'm not being aggressive.
No, you're being assertive.
I made a point. Whether you agree or disagree, it's on the table. Whether you accept it or not, that's one thing. It's like you saying you didn't murder the officer. Well,
I didn't.
Well, how do you classify that then? That's the question, I guess.
I'm going to talk to my lawyer about that.
If I tried to take your anything right now, say we're on the street, you and me, you're walking down the street towards me, and you have a laptop case and a laptop over your shoulder, and I try to take it because I want it, because I need one. What's your response? On a little laptop here. What's your response?
I can't talk to you. You know that.
Well, we are talking.
No, you're gonna try and try. It's okay. I have to talk to my lawyer. I can't. He won't even see me till Innis, so I gotta wait.
Well, you are the person who makes the decisions in this room.
Actually, I'm not.
Actually, you are.
Well, I've decided not to talk to you about stuff. Just because of my own experience as a police officer, and also because Israel, what's his name? Last name?
Genscher.
Genscher says not to.
And
I understand enough that I do understand the magnitude of what's happened here. Like when the guy says you're a piece of shit, and the guy's dead. It's like, oh, holy shit. It's like, oh no. Okay.
Like you said downstairs, the drama's over.
Yeah, it is over. I'm not gonna get upset. It's done. I tried to die and I couldn't die. I can't die.
It's not about you.
I know it's not about me, but I'm just saying.
It stopped being about you when he took his life.
Yeah, and I'm just saying.
In the execution of his duty. That's where we need to get straight here.
I'm just saying is that I'm not gonna go and cause trouble. I'm just gonna.
What trouble could you cause?
With these boys? Because they all walk around me and they're getting ready to describe me in case I go nuts or something. The nuts part is all done. It
is done.
I tried to take my life and it didn't work. So now
but you keep talking about you. You keep talking about you.
Of course, I'm going to talk about me.
That's a choice you made about ending your life.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, I know. That's a choice you made. You made other choices for other people, including myself and a bunch of children, including your own.
Yeah, I know.
We don't get to decide. You chose. So I think it's we need to just move away a little piece about you. Move away from that.
Buddy,
you don't have to trust anybody. You shouldn't trust me.
You're not building trust with me right now. Now you're badgering me, and I'm not going to talk to you. Do I have to sit here and be real quiet? Until you, or are you going to make me sit here for hours and hours and hours?
Do anything you want.
Okay.
Except leave.
I know.
You're under arrest.
I know. Yep. I know.
And
I'm charged with first degree.
Well, you're not charged with anything yet.
Mm-hmm. So.
But based on the information that we have.
That's what you're going to lay charges. That's okay. That's what you're going to do, and that's how the process works.
Yeah, I got the process, and I know that you're a cop, Kevin, and I know that you know all about this. And
no, actually, I don't.
You had the same course.
But I did have the same course, yes.
Yeah, and I'm
in big trouble.
Yeah,
but you don't know that,
Kevin. You seem all matter of fact right now.
I am very matter of fact.
You know what?
Matter of fact.
That's not going to go well for you.
A person has to be who they are. I'm not going to put on a show for anyone. I'm not going to look at the thing about me. The way at my work, how they describe me is I'm very brutally honest and I'm awkward because I don't get up and I don't try and I don't pass the buck. I don't.
That's exactly what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
You think that somehow this whole event is acceptable because you are only trying to find a gun to kill yourself.
Narcissistic personality disorder is defined as a personality disorder characterized by an exaggerated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for other people. Many who have narcissistic personality disorder will never go on to commit a murder. However, In the case of Kevin Gregson, it becomes more and more apparent as the interview progresses that he displays many of these qualities and traits, as called out by the interrogating officer. He took a man's life, and it is still all about him and his issues. He was unable to end his own life. He needed to find a weapon. He feels that people are inherently evil. It sucks to be him. Everything about his perspective is so skewed in one direction that it is nearly impossible for him to see another point of view, even while under arrest.
That's what it's coming off as, Kevin. I'm just the spectator in this. I'm just watching. That's how it's coming off to me. That's why I said we got to stop talking about you. The fact that you chose to end your life or to check out, that you're okay with that, doesn't mean that the rest of the world is okay because you decided, made choices for other people tonight. That's what I'm trying to get through to you.
Yeah, but you do understand that'll be my defense.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So there's no point. Like this whole thing is mental health act. It's written all over it. It's like.
How do you figure that?
Because I know.
How do you figure this is mental health act?
Because I'm messed up.
Because you're depressed. Is that what you're trying to tell me? We've conversed here like two people sitting on bar stools in a bar.
And
that's my point. And the truth is the truth.
Yep, and it shall set you free.
Or condemn you.
Or condemn you. Yeah.
Pretty philosophical for two flatfoots. But
I've been a cop for 5 years.
well, there's two things that are going to happen. You're going to be charged.
I'm going to be charged.
Right.
I could go to jail
You're
for
either
a
going to be
long time.
convicted or not convicted.
Yeah.
That's the way this is going to go.
Yeah.
And witnesses and evidence is evidence, and witnesses are witnesses, and they say what they say. And you have the opportunity right now to look up at the camera and tell that widow and those children
You said
that
they're
you're
not going
sorry.
to watch it.
Oh, they'll be watching. I said everyone's going to watch this at some point.
Yeah. Even my people at the RCMP. How embarrassing.
Everyone's going to watch. It's embarrassing. You think this is embarrassing?
Yeah.
That's all you can think of. This is going to be embarrassing.
You went from flat foot to, oh, it's going to be embarrassing.
No. You think this is embarrassing? Is that what you want the family to hear? Is that what you want the citizens of this free country? Is that what you want people to know about you? Is that you think this is embarrassing?
Flat foot to embarrassing. Now you're trying to make me feel bad or something. I already feel bad.
You do. Well, then say it.
Huh? I already did a few times.
No. You think this is embarrassing. You don't know how this will impact the RCMP. You're worried about the image, your image. You have a lot more problems than that, my friend.
Yeah. That's okay. It's who I am. If I get locked up for it, I get locked up for it. You're not my friend. I don't have any friends. At all. And I don't need friends. Because my dad's like that. He once told me, he says, you know what? When you have friends, you gotta go and be nice and do things to be acceptable to them. So if you do your own thing, you can do your own thing. You don't have to worry about it. And I have picked up that philosophy. And that's it.
Well, you have to know that since people pulled you off or intervened in the stabbing, that we have at least one eyewitness. You know that, right?
There was a girl and a guy and a guy. No, wait. A girl and a guy. The guy had me in a bear pretty good. And the girl, she had grabbed my arm, and another girl came and kicked the knife.
Okay.
If any silver lining could be taken from his terrible encounter, let it be the fact that multiple people stepped in an attempt to stop the attack on the officer. That in itself would conflict with Gregson's view of people being inherently bad. However, it is doubtful that he has enough self-awareness to realize this.
Okay, so that would be
That's three people.
That would be 3 witnesses, right? At least.
Yeah.
In this day and age, you know about video surveillance and cameras and, right?
Yeah.
Eye in the sky, Big Brother, all that stuff, all going. Could be working against you, right?
I don't. It doesn't matter. You know, the courts will decide what happens, and whatever the courts decide, I'll accept.
You had 3 knives or 2?
2.
The knife,
The big one, the Peacekeeper.
the piece. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called a Peacekeeper. It's a NATO issue. You can buy them at like any
Knife shop,
store,
yeah.
knife shop, yeah.
And
And then
you
a
had
little one.
You had a Swiss Army in your pocket?
No, it's not Swiss. It's just a. That was just.
Are you considered to be somewhat of a knife expert, or
I guess.
you don't have any? Do you have any specific training other than the stuff you mentioned about knives, sharp edge training?
With my work.
Okay, with your work, I mean.
Yeah, and then you just pick up stuff on your own.
Okay.
Knife work is pretty basic.
Yeah.
People make a big deal about dancing around and crap, but it's all about it's all prison yard rush. That's all knife work is,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, and then that didn't work, so I had to get a gun.
Right.
I can't believe it.
So why didn't you try to buy one on the street?
Buy one on the street?
Yeah.
From who? I could have just borrowed one. A long
Yes, you
gun
could
from
have.
someone.
Yes, you could have. That's part of the
But the
idea.
knife was supposed to work, and it didn't work.
Okay, so why didn't you just borrow a rifle from somebody? Why didn't you go to Canadian Tire and buy a shotgun?
Because I don't have a.
Why didn't you know somebody that has a weapon, break in their house and take it?
No, because it's more accessible from a member.
I'd say it's not accessible at all.
Do you have
For the very reason is that you would never give up your gun, and neither would I, under no circumstance. That's not accessible. That's you making a choice to go do that. That's not accessible at all. Like I said, that's about a choice you made. You've had choices now, you had choices yesterday. You've had choices the whole time. Go and steal one. That's available. Going to a police officer and trying to disarm them to take their sidearm, not available. Did you want the officer to shoot you and kill you?
No, I just wanted this gun.
Right, so you could kill yourself.
Yeah, at my house. On my sofa. Or in the bathtub. And it would work.
I need to use the washroom. Would you like some water?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'll be back in a second.
Wow. Jeez Louise.
Did you consider any other manner of death? Any other way of ending your life?
My thing was knife. The knife.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, when the
gun
knife didn't
was
work,
Just the gun. And I thought about pills, but I didn't want to take the chance that it wouldn't work.
well, they'll work. You know they work. You've seen one.
If you take the right amount. But like
Just take them all.
that won't do with me. Look how I'm healthy. I'm not gonna with my luck I will just end up damaging all my organs. I'm not gonna go around and be a
So you think it's good?
gimpy.
You think you have good luck? You would be able to survive any other fashion
That's
of
not good
suicide?
luck.
Well,
That's
you
what I
call it
thought
bad
of.
luck. Some people would say good luck.
That's what I considered knife. That was what I thought about for a long time, and it didn't work. So I went to the gun. That's all. That's it. That was my thought process.
So why would you involve another innocent party in your own death?
That's how I was thinking.
Pardon?
That's how I was thinking. I just wanted a gun. I just wanted to die. I still do. I don't want to live now. But it's just the way it's worked out.
So you would...
You know, if I go into the pen system, maybe I can get involved in the gang and I'll get whacked. There you go. Then I'll be dead there.
So you involved another innocent party, another innocent member of this
Society.
society, Because you couldn't think of any other way to get a gun.
I didn't think of him as being innocent. I just thought of him as someone who possessed the weapon that I wanted.
You don't think he's innocent?
I didn't think of him as an innocent. I thought of him as a person who possessed a weapon that I wanted.
So he became a target because he had something you wanted. Well,
Target?
Well, he's not innocent. If he's not innocent, then he's the target of what you were doing.
I just wanted the gun. That's all I wanted. I wanted the gun. I wanted to die. I wanted the gun.
Why didn't you get up on the Queensway and stand in front of a tractor trailer? That,
I didn't
my
think
friend.
about that. I thought it would jump.
So you thought it'd be easier to go and confront a police officer to get his gun?
Yeah.
You thought that would be easier?
Why do you think I was carrying cuffs?
You were gonna abduct him.
I know. I was just going to cuff him.
So because you thought he'd go with you, is that it?
No, because I'm stronger than him.
How do you know that?
Because I'm freakishly strong. No,
You
I am.
You think quite highly of yourself.
I am. I have lots of experience in restraint. It's no big deal.
So how did a paramedic wrestle you to the ground and keep you there if you're so strong?
Because I didn't. Once he took me down, I stopped. It was done. But I was telling him to watch the crime scene. Everyone was walking all over it.
So you're concerned about the crime scene at that point?
No, I wasn't. I was just saying, hey, you guys, watch where you're walking.
At this point, it is already more than clear that this interview has gone as far as it's going to go from an informational gathering point of view. The focus of the discussion now seems to shift in an attempt to force Kevin Gregson to face his own delusions, or at the very least, see how these consequences are a direct result of his own actions. But once again, in order for an individual to realize these things, they must first have a level of self-awareness and a level of empathy that Kevin Gregson doesn't appear to possess.
So you thought, in your mind, it would be easy to handcuff a police officer and take his gun.
Yeah.
You thought, in your mind, that was...
Yeah. But the thing is that I was trying to kill myself.
That's what you're alleging, yes.
Not alleging. That didn't work. So I got it in my head, gun. So I went looking for one. I drove everywhere. I drove down past the donut shops. I thought maybe one guy would pull me over because I'm in a car that's hot. They didn't. 3 guys drove past me. They didn't stop me. I'm surprised at that. Wow. Don't these guys pay attention? And then I figured, the hospital, because I used to take clients there. And so it's going to be loaded with police officers. And I'll go there and just grab one from someone. Quick, gone. And it's done.
So you expect...
And then, yes, I did. And then I'd come home and I'd do my thing. And I could sit there and stare at the wall for a while, then just do it. And then I'm done. In my house, in my home, where I'm safe. But it's not my home anymore. But that's irrelevant in that sense. But that's what I was doing. I wasn't thinking about all these other things. I was just thinking about dying and getting a gun.
I think that you didn't have the moxie to kill yourself or the knowledge. You think you profess it and possess it. And I think that you didn't have it, so you know as well as I do from your police training that you pull a knife out within 6 feet of a police officer.
Suicide by cop.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Why was I wearing 2 vests?
That's right. So the other alternative is that you intended to do what you wanted to do, and that you were going to engage other people, other innocent members of the public, other police officers whom you have no grudge against, who are actually somewhat your brethren.
That's true. That's what that guy told me. He said, you're a dirtbag. You went after one of your own. And it's true.
That's right. You went after one of your own. That's my point.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Well, it's not just bad. It's tragic, my friend.
It's evil.
Well,
no, it is. It is. What a mess.
So which is it?
Huh?
Why didn't you stand in front of a tractor trailer? Why didn't you take pills?
I didn't think of that. I got it in my head about the gun. And the pills don't work. As far as I'm concerned, with the way my body is, it wouldn't work. And I'm not going to go around being a gimp. I want to be dead. And that's it. So the gun was the next option. That's what I thought. That's what I went and did.
If the wounds to your neck were that serious, you'd still be in the hospital. You know that? Because they did a CAT scan on you, and I know from speaking to the officer.
Any of the things, I know. And you think I didn't.
So you really didn't damage anything when you put the knife in there, right? So your behavior tonight.
Oh, it was atrocious. It was criminal. It was evil.
It is criminal. Yeah, you killed somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you went there with a purpose.
No, I went there to get a gun.
Yeah, and what I'm saying to you is that's not plausible or believable.
To you, and that's what you're saying, but the thing is, when I go into the courts will hear what I have to say, and they'll decide what they want to say. You can get up there and say what you have to say, but it's up to
No,
them.
it doesn't matter what I
It's the
say.
system, or whoever.
It's what your trier of fact will believe or understand.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
So you didn't consider drowning?
I did. I talked to my mom and dad. I said, I don't want to drown. Gross. Because with my luck, I'll survive it.
Because you're extra tough.
Yes.
You wouldn't want to do pills because you don't know how much to take. Even though if you took them all, it would kill you. You know very well. You've seen it before.
Not
you don't
necessarily with me.
Right, you're that...
I am that tough.
Okay, so you don't want to hang yourself.
No, because I saw a guy do that, and that's no way to do it.
Right, so there's a dignified way out of
It wasn't
killing
really
yourself.
a dignified way. The guy was kicking and
So
kicking.
the better way, what you're trying to tell me and what you
For me,
want
the
me to
better way was
believe...
the gun thing.
Yeah, what you want me to believe is, and what you're going to want someone to believe someday, is that you went in, you approached a police officer and had every intentions of disarming him, handcuffing him, and expecting him to say, okay.
Didn't matter what he said.
I mean, you stabbed this officer to death and you still didn't get his gun. Do you even know how to take our guns out of our holsters?
Well, hey, that's right. Oh my gosh.
Do you even know how to do that?
No.
No. So how are you going to do that?
I didn't think of that.
No. So
You think of a lot of things.
Or that's what you want me to believe?
Yep.
That's what you want me to believe, or that's the truth?
That's what I'm going to tell the court, and that's the truth.
Gregson would later attempt to blame his behavior on his medical condition and various cranial cysts that he claimed to have. He was even sent for a psychological evaluation. It was only discovered later the circumstances that perhaps prompted Gregson to hijack the Honda Civic in the first place. The week before the hijacking and the murder of Officer Czapnik, Kevin Gregson had sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl 4 times.
The little girl told police what happened in a heartbreaking videotaped statement to a detective. She said that Gregson raped her 4 times, and before the 4th incident, she begged him not to do it again. He told her, she said, that he had more power than she does, and if he wanted to do it again, he would, and there was nothing she could do about it. He told her not to tell anyone, and she said that she tried to cry out all of her tears so she'd be able to keep that secret. The court is expected to hear from 2 doctors testifying about the injuries that the little girl suffered. The trial is expected to last about a week.
On March 13, 2012, a jury found Gregson guilty of robbery, first-degree murder, and using an imitation firearm in the commission of offense.
So the issue is very narrow. It's always impossible to know how long a jury will take to deliberate and come to a verdict. The fact that it's an Ottawa Police officer puts an extra degree of pressure. The media attention, to be honest with you, is not like most, even major trials in Ottawa. The attention of the community focused on this case, the number of spectators who came to watch the trial, all sort of increased the pressure, I think, that we clearly felt during the case.
And I think now it's for us, we've finished, we've done our work.
He's serving a life sentence for that killing, and on Wednesday, Judge Julian Parfit gave him a 10-year prison sentence concurrent.
When the sexual assault perpetrated by Gregson came to light, he was sentenced to 10 more years to run concurrently. So what caused Kevin Gregson to end up at the point he was on December 29th? Was it simply a warped, delusional mindset fueled by inherent narcissism? Or could it have been symptoms of his medical condition affecting his behavior, personality, and decision-making? Regardless, what we are left with is a pathetic killer and predator who ended the life of one man and completely changed the life of a young girl, all while never being able to leave his hole of self-pity to realize that his actions, regardless of their cause, were absolutely inexcusable.
This has made me a stronger person, even though it was hard, the girl said in her victim impact statement. So I will give the chance of forgiveness if you just say sorry, Kevin. It doesn't have to be now, and it doesn't have to be directly to me. You can even say it just to yourself, Kevin. But remember, I will forgive. Gregson just sat there. Tony Spears, Sun News.